And not good, no balance. Soccer, ball into the eye, playing basketball, fingers being broken off. What the side kick looks like. In this kata, there's movement. We're going to be moving in a front stance and we're doing a front walk. I like to call this a samurai walk. When you're at attention, the kyatsuki position, we always start with our right leg back in a low block. And that's the start of our movement. In this kata, you'll be walking and punching forward, walking and punching back. So we're going to do some drills so that you're prepared for the kata, and then when you watch the kata, you'll understand what you're doing. You're also turning, but everything comes from this, the front stance with the walking. We're just going to do it. Anytime you walk, whatever leg's forward, the same arm is forward. Whether it be a block, this block, or that block, or a punch. So usually we walk with whatever leg is forward, we're actually doing the technique. It's just the way karate is in our style. So if I were to step forward, my right leg would come in, and picture this like skating. When you skate, you basically put your feet together and then apart. Feet together, then apart. Feet together, then apart. Feet together and apart. It's almost like skating, okay? So the same thing. Trick here is when your feet come together, you don't want to stand up and then come back down. You don't want to bob up and down when you walk. So you want to keep level. And as you walk forward, you want to stay the same level with your posture, your back, your head, your chin back, chest out, straight. So, as so. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And you can practice that. We'll practice that with the punch because that's what you'll be doing in the kata. So, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's basically the first 4 steps of the kata. So when you get into that horse stance, step 2 is forward with your punch, with your right hand. So right leg moves, punch. And notice my shoulders are straight to the front, my hips are straight to the front, my back leg is straight. Okay, my front leg is bent, and if I were to look down, I shouldn't see my toe. So you have to have a bend. And sometimes when you go to tournaments and you see other people doing this kata, they're really exaggerated. And that's fine. And that's how you build muscles and muscle memory. So if you exaggerate something, it'll help you be better when you perform the kata. Okay? Now we'll go into the turns. Turns are very tricky. I'm going to show you from this angle, and hopefully you'll see this on the back. We'll start with our right leg back. Anytime we turn, if our leg is behind you, what I want to do is look. So I'm going to, right now, turn into my right side. So I look. This means my back leg will come to me, and my whole body shifts as my feet are together, and then I go forward. Then I land into my turn, right there. So now, if I want to turn again, I'm going to turn again to the right side. Notice my foot has to come from the front. So I look, and I'm going to turn again to the right. This time, and I come back, look, and then pivot and turn. And that's basically the turn. Now I'll do this with the left side. When I'm standing here and I look over and I want to turn to my left, if my left leg is behind me, when I turn to the left, my leg comes towards me and then back out, and I turn. And I'll show you again what to do facing this side. If I want to turn to my left side and my left leg happens to be forward, I'm going to look, my left leg comes back, and then I pivot and turn. Okay, and those are the turns on our kata. Those are 90-degree turns. We also have a 180-degree turn. We turn all different degrees. In the beginning, all you need to know is a right turn, right angle turn, and 180-degree turn. That's it. Same philosophy works here. My legs on front, into the front stance, my right leg is behind you, and I'm going to turn 180 degrees, so behind me. The idea here is you want to go away from the turning area to see what's happening. You don't want to turn and run into a fist. Bang. So the whole idea is you look over your shoulder, something's happening, you want to pull back. I like to say with the class, you call your leg back. Your leg behind you, you call it back. and you bring it away, and you notice I'm still crouching. I'm not standing up. I'm trying to keep level. And then you take that foot and put it back, and that's the turn right there. That's the turn. So the idea is you're pulling away and then going into it. You know, imagine you're on a big mountain and you turn and you fall off the mountain. So you're on the cliff, and the cliff is the black part. Say, use the imagination. You're on the cliff. Where the red is, you fall. So you don't want to turn and fall. What you want to do is look behind. Oh, there's a cliff. Oh, if I go to the red, I fall. And then you get to place your foot in safety and you turn. And there you are. And that's what we do. That's the 180-degree turn. So basically, you're looking, you look behind you, you bring your leg back, and then you take your leg and you stick it forward. Another thing I like to do is explain another visual thing for kids to understand. When I'm coming from the turn, I'm bringing my leg, looking, bringing my leg back, and then I place it. I pretend like you're at a beach or at a swimming pool. And what do? You place your big toe in the water. See, notice how my big toe is there? And then oh, it's safe there. Oh, the water's fine. Then you go into the water. We'll do the turn again a few times. With the right leg behind, I look over my right shoulder, I call my leg back, and then I turn and turn. Now I'm going to turn 180 degrees again with my left. Same thing. My left leg's behind me. I call my leg back, meet the other leg, put my toe out, and turn. Very important to have your shoulders and your hips facing the direction you want to turn. And those are the turns in this kata. So, in the kata, there is the hand movements, blocking and punching. One of the things we like to do in karate is kick. So I'm going to explain now the side kick. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to look to the direction. So we're going to kick to the left here. Then I'm going to bring my knee up. And notice my foot's in the position. It's in the position. It's not dangling like a piece of meat. My foot's in position, ready for the side kick. And basically what I do, this kick here is mid-level. So I always say above the belt. And I'm just going to throw the kick out nice and slow so you get it, right? Right there. And then comes back in. And that's the left side kick. And now I'll explain the right side kick. The right side kick, same thing. You're going to look. Every time we do something, when we're changing direction, very important to look. So I look, I lift my knee up, my foot's in the ready position, and then I just kick. Okay? And it's important to have your foot with your ankle a little bit higher than your toes. So if that's your kick that way, it's not going to be effective. You want to get your ankle aligned with your knee and your hip in a straight line, and that pushes out the force. So anything else, you'll be like a spring. So not all your force goes forward, half your force or maybe more. Now I'll explain that into the bag here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So the idea here is I'm going to be kicking this bob. Anything that looks like a person we call Bob here. I think in this dojo we have 10 Bobs. So one Bob with 9 brothers called Bob. This is another Bob, but he doesn't have a face. And I'll show you how to properly do the side kick and why we want to have our heel higher than our toes. If I come up on the kick and I bring my foot down like this and it's sloppy and I throw, see how my feet curl, my toes curl in? Well, I'll break my toes. That's not a good thing, right? Or if my toes are up, it's like, here's my foot to your opponent. The defending person's not going to take kindly to that. So I must hit the mannequin and push my force one way. Again, karate is a perfect example of, for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. And here's what I'm talking about. If my intent here is to kick this guy down, if I don't have the proper movement, he won't go down. Some force will go to him, and some force will go to me. And this is an example of that. A bad kick, a bad side kick. Okay? So first of all, distance might be an issue. So if I'm too close, my foot is not going to be able to do the damage that it needs to do here. So my leg comes up and I kick and he moves, but I also move. And I become like a spring. So some force this way, some force that way. And it cancels each other out. Not only that, I may trip and fall and the opponent has a chance to get on top. So the ideal thing is to get your stance proper And I'm gonna just measure my distance and align my body so my knee comes up, my foot's ready, my heel is gonna be lower than my foot, and then I kick. And your opponent goes down. It's better to do that than this. And I fall. Karate, we're meant to stay on our feet. Okay? Not good when we're on the ground. Then we have to do other martial arts, which we do here. We actually learn what to do on the floor as well. But primarily, karate is about punching and kicking and staying on your feet, knocking other people down, not yourself. So if you do the technique wrong, you're going to be on the ground. That's not a good thing. I like to always have the hands up, getting the knee up and ready, aligning the hip with the heel, aiming. This is going to be a bit mid-level kick, and I kick. My foot is extended, and then it comes back up and down. That's the kick, the side kick. So there you go. You have the lesson of the kata, the elements of the kata, movements of the kata, the punches and the kicks. This is our moving kata, our first introduction to moving, turning, direction. Have yourself a good day, and hopefully this will serve you. Thank you for coming to the dojo.